All right, we'll call the meeting of the Human Rights Commission to order for the month of September. And roll call. Commissioner Mohammed, not here. Commissioner Kolash present. Commissioner Kadura.
Here.
Commissioner Priest is here but stepped out. Lusala.
Here.
Commissioner Paul Shantz.
Here.
Harkin. And Mendez Shannon. Nope. And Miller.
Here.
All right. And before we move on, then we will let us welcome our new commissioner, Talia. Is that right? Talia, is that how you say it? Miller? Great. So we'll do our introductions like we typically do. Kind of go down here and each introduce ourselves, and then love to hear about you. All right. So Roger, do you wanna kick us off?
Well, welcome. My name is Roger Lusala. I've been in the commission. This is actually my second term. I did finish, the commissioner's term, so then I got appointed for my full term. Been in Iowa City going on, 30 years. I moved to Iowa City in 1999 from California after my undergrad to go to grad school. Then I fell in love with Iowa City and then the people of Iowa City, so I made it home. I have a wonderful family here, and most of my kids are grown. Now they're moving away. I'm trying to get them back here. So, love this city. I'm very involved in the city. For fun time, I coach soccer. I've coached a lot of kids in soccer here, so, and I just love the city, so welcome.
Hi, I'm Emily Harkin. I joined the council, not the council, but the commission in December. This recently past December. I joined also on an open position that was left because someone left. I've been in Iowa City since 2021 when I started college at the University of Iowa, and I've been here ever since I graduated. I'm still here. And now I work, am on the commission and love being here.
Yes, hi, my name is Viana Kadura. I've been living in America for the past 29 years, and I have moved to Iowa City in 2015. I do lead Mariam Girls Club, which is an advocacy club for Muslim youth in Johnson County. And I'm also involved in multiple organizations, either as a board member or as an advocate or as a supporter, somebody who stands up for the truth and for equality and for the rights of people to prosper, live, and enjoy just being a human being without, facing prejudice and discrimination based on who they are. The most important thing, I'm a mother of 6 children. So I'm always busy and doing things, and it's a blessing to be here in Iowa City. I have lived in multiple cities before I came in here, and I can write editorial works about racism and discrimination throughout the cities that I lived in before. So I'm glad to be part of the commission. I have joined the commission in 2023. So I was filling a partial term, and I'm not sure if I'm going to continue or not. That's still debatable. But thank you, and welcome to the commission. Thanks.
Hi, Talia. I'm Kelsey. It's really lovely to meet you, and I appreciated reading portions of your application to the commission too, and I can't wait to hear more about your own introduction. But I'm Kelsey Paul Shantz. I joined the commission, I don't remember when, I think it was like 2022. And but I moved back to Iowa in 2017 and moved to Iowa City at that time. And it's been really lovely to see the opportunities that we have here in the community and to be amongst like-minded individuals too in how we make sure that many different voices are represented across our community. My day job involves looking at how communities can address and prevent structural violence, including all forms of identity-based violence. And so that's kind of the lens by which I come into a lot of this work here in the community as well. I live on the east side and with my dog and my husband.
Hi, Talia. My name is Doug Kolash. I'm the chair of the commission. I've been on the commission for 3 years. I finished one term, and then now I'm in my first year of my first full term. I grew up in central Iowa and came to Iowa City for my undergrad. Graduated in 2002, sorry. And then was a high school Spanish teacher in Cedar Rapids. So lived here for a year and then moved up to Cedar Rapids for a while. Moved to Madison, Wisconsin, lived there for 10 years and then decided to come back. So I've been here since 2021. Live here with my partner and our two kids who are a junior and senior at West High. And my day job, I am the Senior Director of Learning for a healthcare IT consulting firm. So I work with hospitals and healthcare organizations with their electronic medical records software. Other activities, I am the president of Hawkeye Pride, which is the LGBTQ alumni group for the University of Iowa, as well as the Alumni Leadership Council through the Center for Advancement at the university. So welcome.
Tell you, my name is Mark Priest. It sounds like priest, and there's just no T on it. But I am a Christian pastor, retired. I first came to Iowa City in 1951. I was a little boy. And then moved away in 54 and came back in 2007 to be a pastor here in town. I retired in 2017. I'm married to Leslie. We have two kids, and now they're over 50. How'd that happen? So we have 4 grandchildren. One of them is in pharmacy school here at the University of Iowa. We like living here. There's lots and lots of reasons to like living here. I lost my phone just in the last half hour, and I'm not feeling very good about it.
That's very fair. All right, folks. I'm Talia Ortiz. I have lived in Iowa City for 15 years. During my time here, I have done a lot of community work based around just body differences, body diversity, that kind of stuff. I frequently organize events around fatness and how people interact with that and what it's like living in a fat body. And the way it interacts with other marginalizations. And so that is something I do. And then for my work, I work at an after-school program part-time, but then the rest of my time is community organizing and working on a tattoo apprenticeship. So yeah, that's what a quick overview of what I do.
Awesome. Well, welcome. Welcome to the commission.
Welcome.
All right. Okay, agenda item 2 is our Native American land acknowledgement. Do we have a volunteer to read today?
I sure will.
All right, Roger.
We meet today in a community of Iowa City which now occupies the homeland of the Native American nation to whom we owe our commitment and dedication. The area of Iowa City was within the homeland of the Iowa, Meskwaki, and Sauk. And because history is complex and time goes far back beyond memories, we also acknowledge the ancient connection of many other indigenous people here. The history of broken treaties and forced removal that dispossess indigenous people of their homeland was and is an act of colonization and genocide that we cannot erase. We implore the Iowa City community to commit to understanding and addressing these injustices as we work toward equity, restoration, and reparation. Thank you.
Thank you. Agenda item 3, a presentation on local option sales tax.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Jeff Fruin. I'm the City Manager here for the City of Iowa City, and I appreciate a little bit of time with you this evening. Before I get started, I want to just make sure and say thank you for your volunteer service to this community, your help. All of you talked about what either keeps you here, what brought you back to Iowa City. A lot of that's attributable to people volunteering time like you are tonight. So thank you for helping making Iowa City such a special place. I'm going to talk through the local option sales tax. This is an item that is on the ballot come November 4th. And I'll try to move quickly through these, but if I move too quickly and you've got questions, please just interrupt and stop, and we'll take as much time as you'd like. So first, what is a local option sales tax? The state of Iowa has a 6% sales tax already. That's standard across the state. And then they have an allowance for cities to have an additional 1% to make it 7% total, should the voters give the cities that ability. So when we talk about sales tax, it is a very regressive tax, and we want to be open about that. But the state has done a number of things to make it perhaps a little bit less regressive, or take some of that regressivity out. So, for example, it doesn't apply to your mortgage, your groceries, utilities, gas, and things like that. Tried to remove some of the daily necessities, so it is not as regressive. Local option sales tax is used pretty widely throughout the state of Iowa. You see on that slide there, 93% of cities have this 1% sales tax. So if you're traveling outside of Johnson County, you're shopping, most likely you're paying that 7%. And even if you're shopping within Johnson County and some of the smaller towns, and we'll show you a list of those in a little bit, you're probably paying that 7% as opposed to the 6% that you're used to paying here. In Iowa City and some of the neighboring communities. We've been looking at the local option sales tax for actually several years. This is a copy of the strategic plan here on the screen, and this was adopted in December of 22. And one of the strategies the council and staff identified at that time was that we need to look at alternative revenue sources like a local option sales tax, really in order to advance a lot of the strategic priorities that the council has set. So you can see the specific language in there, but this is really something that's been on the council's radar since 2022. What is kind of prompting us to move forward right now? Well, in addition to really wanting to be more aggressive with some of the strategic plan initiatives, we're facing some things that weren't known in 2022, like state property tax reform. That's a kind of a constant theme that we're hearing at the State House. There's been reform in 2013. There was additional reform in 2022. And then almost another version of reform in 2025 this year, and surely will be a top priority for the governor and the majority party in the State House this coming year as well. We've also seen some, what's listed here as tepid taxable property value growth. So that's part of what the reform does. When the state talks about property tax reform, they're really suppressing the taxable value of certain types of properties. So you could look around Iowa City and say, wow, this community is growing incredibly. I'm seeing new buildings come up, new subdivisions come up. I don't understand why there's not enough property tax to maintain services. A lot of that is because the reform is putting a downward pressure on our existing tax base. And then, like we've all experienced the last few years, there's just inflationary pressure on the services that we provide. So you see that in your home budget, your business budgets, and we feel it here with the services that we provide to the public. So that's prompting the question to go forward to the voters. And what is a 1% sales tax produce? This graph here is a line chart that shows the taxable sales in just Iowa City from 2000 on your far left to 2024. You can see the big dip hit right around that 2008, 2009 recessionary time, and the sales never really recovered from that time. It's been pretty flat thereafter. But a 1% would generate an estimated $8 to $10 million in new revenue for the city, so a significant sum of dollars. The exact amount's going to depend on which cities have a local option sales tax and which ones don't. The way that the sharing of revenue works for local option sales tax, those cities that pass it, all those dollars go into a kind of a pot, and then it gets split out based on the communities that have that. So who's in, who's out makes a big difference in how much exactly we will get. And it's important to note, because Johnson County has a lot of visitors, thanks to the university here, that a lot of people visiting our community that consume the services, the roads that they use, the parks that they enjoy, services we may provide in terms of police or emergency medical service, as example. This is one way to capture some visitor revenue to fund some of the services and the needs of the city. So local option sales tax isn't a new thing for Iowa City. We actually had a local option sales tax for 4 years after the 2008 flood. That was one of the more essential pieces to a lot of our flood recovery efforts. And in those 4 years, we collected about $34 million in revenue from that 1% sales tax. And you can see some of the projects that we were able to complete. If you were here during that time, remember what we called the Gateway Project, when we raised Dubuque Street up 12 feet and built the new Park Road Bridge. If you can picture the area where Big Grove Brewery is, right behind Ralston Creek and the highway there, that used to be a sewer plant. That plant was flooded in 2008, and those dollars helped relocate that sewer capacity down to our south plant near Kickers Soccer Park, and enabled us to transform that old sewer plant into a beautiful new riverfront crossing park. So I give you these examples because in just 4 years, the city was able to really make some transformative change with these revenues that we otherwise would largely still probably be working on today. There was a vote in 2014 to reestablish LOST. And you can see at that time we shifted away from flood recovery, and the question went to voters to use 50% for streets and trails, 40% for property tax relief, and 10% for affordable housing. And while the voters in Iowa City passed it by a majority, see that 50.3%, at that time the state law required that all the votes from adjacent cities be combined, and it did not receive support in North Liberty and Coralville, and brought us below that majority. We no longer have to worry about that. The state law has changed since 2014, and now single cities can opt in to a local option sales tax as opposed to being reliant on each other to do that. So there's a lot of numbers on this screen. This is just some of the larger cities in Iowa that have LOST, when they started it, when it sunsets, or when it ends. You'll see most of them do not have an end date on those, and how much money it produces, and the purpose for which they use it. If you want to look through any of these, I can certainly circle back to this slide. There's only one other city besides Iowa City that has 50,000 or more population that does not use a local option sales tax, and that is Ankeny, Iowa. And then here in Johnson County, there are 7 communities that use a local option sales tax, and most of them have just adopted it recently. So if you go back to 2015 was the first time that we had cities in Johnson County adopt it without a sunset period. And then you can see a couple more were added more recently, University Heights just this year, and the prior year Tiffin enacted it. So that really leaves 3 major cities, Iowa City, Coralville, and North Liberty, and it is on the ballot in all 3 communities. So no matter where you're at, if you're in one of those 3 communities, you will have the ability to vote on that on November 4th. And in preparation for the question, the council did include this inquiry to the public in our community survey that we did last fall, and just trying to gauge what residents would support a LOST for, what public purpose. And you can see, I'll point out the first 4, because you're going to see that show up again in the actual ballot language that's before you. So first, the residents responded with streets. I think everybody can unite around streets to some degree, repairing streets and constructing new streets. Second was strong support, 69% for affordable housing. 62 focused on percent supported parks, trails, and natural areas. And then investment in nonprofit services showed up at 60%. And you can see a couple of the other questions that were asked that didn't receive as much support. So the council, the city council had several meetings to deliberate how property tax, how a local option sales tax would be distributed, and landed on this pie chart on the screen here. And it's important to note that property tax relief is now required by the state. That is not something that we have discretion over. That was a 2017 or 18 law change. So the city council has to use 50% for property tax relief. And I'll talk a little bit about what that means in a minute. Affordable housing is the next largest chunk at 25%. So if you go back to what we asked the public for in 2014, we asked for 10% for affordable housing. The council significantly upped that percent with this ballot question. And then community partnerships, 15, and public streets, parks, and facilities, 10. And we'll go through each of those categories to tell you a little bit more about those. So property tax relief, again, 50%, and it's helpful if we just think roughly 10 million to make the number simple per year. So 5 million has to be for property tax relief. And this can be property tax reductions, meaning that dollar for dollar we reduce, what we ask from the community in terms of property tax, and we replace it with local option sales tax. Or it can be property tax avoidance. So if we would otherwise have to raise your property tax rates, we can use lost to keep those rates at the same level. And that's going to be an annual decision that the city council has to make with each budget. The affordable housing piece, I'll point out the ballot language there. I'll just read it. 25% shall be used to preserve existing affordable housing stock, increase shelter and transitional housing supports, and increase access to and the supply of affordable housing for households with low income. This is pretty broad language, but hopefully it gets to the spirit of which the council wants this dollar spent. I should have backed up a little bit. There is no proposed sunset, meaning this tax would not expire in 4 years like we did after the flood. This would go on until such time another ballot question was asked of the public to remove it. So the language needs to be pretty broad. If you can kind of think affordable housing, maybe how the community envisioned spending that 20 years ago, or even in 2014 when the question was asked, versus how they might spend it during a pandemic. What kind of housing supports were needed at that time versus what kind of housing supports are needed now. We just don't know as times change exactly how those dollars should be spent. So council really wanted to make sure that last piece was in there, which is benefiting households with low incomes, and felt that was a crucial piece. Public streets, parks, and facilities. This is probably the one that doesn't need much explanation. This is just going to help us do a lot of those things that government does. We maintain our streets, we build parks and trails that are enjoyable, and we help maintain public facilities such as libraries, senior centers, rec centers, and properties like this. In community partnerships. This is a 15% allocation, so again, roughly $1.5 million per year. That would go to various partnerships that we rely on in this community. Part of what makes Iowa City great is because we have a lot of partnerships that help address some of the more complex challenges we have. So social services, for example, we have annual funding rounds for social services. You guys provide funding for many social service agencies through the Human Rights Grant, but those budgets are difficult to increase, and they've been fairly stagnant for periods of time. This would be an extra revenue source that could certainly supplement how we're working with those agencies, and also allow us to explore other partnerships in the community, and not just social service partnerships. This could speak to partnerships with arts and culture groups. This could be partnerships with other governmental organizations. So that could be the school district or the university. Basically, any type of partnership would be eligible here, and these dollars, I think, could lead to some pretty creative solutions going forward. So I'll kind of end with the timeline here, and we're already kind of moving quickly towards that November 4th election. If the community passes it, it does take 50% plus one to pass that. Then the tax would be collected beginning July 1 of 2026. So it would take several months for it to go into effect, and we'll probably start getting our first distributions probably in the fall of that 2026 timeframe. I think that's all I had. Is there any questions? Did I move through anything too quickly or skip over anything for you?
I had one question.
Yes.
There was the $8 to $10 million estimated revenue for the county. Is that annually, or is that over a different time period?
Yes, that's a good question. I'm sorry I wasn't clear. It's $8 to $10 million annually. Okay. And that's based on the assumption that it passes in Iowa City and it does not pass in other communities. That number could be as high as probably 15 million under the revenue sharing formula if the other communities participate or voters participate. So I would say that's the low end conservative estimate.
And then the proposed distribution that you gave us, like with the 25% in affordable housing, is that subject to change year by year, and or is that, a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan?
That's a great question. So the categories cannot change without going back to the voters.
Okay.
How you spend within that category can change year to year, and that'll be city council discretion during the budget approval process. So if we take the $10 million assumption, there's going to be a new $2.5 million revenue stream annually coming in for affordable housing. It has to be used for affordable housing. 1 year, it could be used for a new down payment assistance program. The next year, it could be used for shelter supports in the community, rapid rehousing, and every year the council can decide what that mix is as long as we can justify to the public that it's benefiting low-income housing.
Thank you.
Yep.
Initially, I was thinking, oh, no, it's regressive, but I see the 50% property tax relief. Can you articulate a little bit how that, is the percentage rate going to go down? How does that work?
Yeah, so that's another discretionary decision that each council is going to have to make. Yes, you could go dollar for dollar down and reduce property taxes, but there's also a property tax avoidance piece. So, for example, if we were going to build a new park and we said we need to raise our levy rate by 10 cents across the entire community in order to build this new park, we could just say, nope, we're going to plug in some of this 50% and keep the rate the same, if that makes sense. So it's just going to depend annually on what the needs of the community are and the desires of the council to actually put downward pressure on that rate.
Okay, well, it's a privilege to live here and so many things, good things from the city. We got to pay for it.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yes.
First of all, thank you so much for explaining this. I had a hard time just putting things together in my brain, But when you went over a slide of the survey that results of, of how to use if it get adopted by the city. Yes. So did this survey, when it was conducted, did it take the household income in consideration for those people who voted on those things?
There was a question with the survey, and this was taken last fall, about household income as an optional kind of demographic tail end piece of that survey. I do not know how the survey, how this question looks differently in those different income brackets that you could self-report. This would be the aggregate of all of the responses received.
I'm just wondering, because 1%, yes, is so little, but for the low-income families, it's a big chunk.
Yes.
And it's going to complicate many issues, even if, exempted from the food and the groceries and the necessities, But I'm wondering if the city is going to adopt whatever is listed in here in the order that it's listed when they use the 1% without considering, the household incomes.
Correct.
That we're not going to be, fairly conducted as it should be.
Yeah. So this survey result helped guide the ballot language, basically helped, sorry, the mouse and my fingers moving faster than the screen here. The survey helped determine the split in this distribution. So going forward, the survey isn't really going to play any role. When the council was determining how to spend these dollars, there was a lot of questions or a lot of concern about making sure that the dollars were going to impact those that the tax might be the most burdensome on. And that's why you see a large chunk towards affordable housing and really community partnerships. Those two items were a big piece of the council's thinking on this, because I don't know if there's anybody that really likes the sales tax option, just to be honest. If we had other choices available to us as local governments in Iowa, we might imagine different types of taxes that could bring in revenue to support our services. Sales tax is the option that the state gives us. So with this distribution split, there's an attempt to make sure that the dollars are benefiting the populations that may be most burdened by this tax.
So this has already been decided on, so there's no chance that it's
Correct. Now, this has been decided on. The voters will ultimately decide if this is the right mix. So if for example, a voter did not feel like there was enough balance here to address the regressivity of the tax, they might vote no. And if we don't get 50%, then the tax doesn't get implemented, and we either come back to the voters at a future election with a different mix, or we put it on the back burner like we did in 2014 and not bring it up again for another decade.
Okay, sure. Last question. You mentioned that North Liberty did not adopt the 1% tax. Okay, is there a reason for it?
Well, it's that North Liberty and Coralville both have it on the ballot. So if we go back to, these are the communities in Johnson County that are currently collecting a sales tax, a 1% tax. North Liberty and Coralville are joining Iowa City by putting this question to the voters on November 4th. So they may have it after November 4th, just like we may have it, but don't know that right now.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jeff, I just want to say thank you for the presentation and thank you for your time. It's really exciting to see what might be possible in our community because of this increase in resources, and also I appreciate the thoughtfulness in how we might consider the benefits for those who are also paying for that additional tax too, and the prioritization. So thank you to you and your office as well as City Council for their considerations. Kind of off the presentation for a moment a little, I'm curious if there has been any conversation so far about the potential partnerships that this opens up, so where there could be additional cost savings or encouragement even with local major businesses and institutions in our community to partner on things like more affordable housing projects and things like that. Would you, if you feel comfortable, would you mind sharing a few ideas or related topics to that?
Sure. Right now, there's been no deliberations by the City Council on exactly how the dollars could be spent. I can say the affordable housing piece is probably one in which we spend quite a bit of time discussing affordable housing needs with the City Council. And actually at their next meeting on October 7th, they're going to be talking about permanent supportive housing in a joint work session with the county. I think that's top of mind for everybody right now, is how do we increase the supply of permanent supportive housing, which is probably the hardest type of housing to bring because it is so expensive and labor intensive with the wraparound services that are needed. And if you're not familiar with the term permanent supportive housing, but you are familiar with Cross Park Place or 501 project that Shelter House operates, those would be two more prominent examples of permanent supportive housing. There's others in the community. So I would think that's probably going to be top of mind for our City Council right now. I know childcare is another area in which our council has been kind of aggressively looking for ways to partner. We've had some good partnerships with the county and with the Better Together organization on the wage enhancement program, and there's a definite need to keep funding going and expand those types of efforts as childcare continues to be inaccessible for so many. So those are a couple of examples that come to mind.
That's great. Thank you.
Jeff, thanks again for really coming over here doing this presentation. Can you go back on the slide that just talks about the things the loss does affect or does not affect? And because I know there's a lot of people in the community really worrying about that 1%, and especially a lot of people in the low income household, how it's gonna affect them. And I know city staff and elected officials can really support or promote the 1% sales tax. What kind of education material or are we putting out there to really educate people on the stuff that this is not going to affect them, because I know there's a lot of people really worrying about what is this going to increase my rent or my utility or my grocery bill. So that's a lot of worry that we kind of hearing out there. What is the education that we are putting out there to really educate people on what's not going to affect them?
Yeah, so we'll really start to ramp up the public education as early voting gets closer in October. Right now, if you go to our website, you can find frequently asked questions. You can find a link to the state website that gives you an exact listing of everything that's exempt. And we'll work on promotional videos and social media pieces. The city's role is really to educate. We're not in an advocacy position. We're here to educate the voters. So we're going to try to provide as much information as we can. One of the hopes with doing these presentations, I think we've done 4 or 5 commission presentations now, is to hear the questions that you have and hear what's on your mind so that we can help develop that educational materials. Because if you're thinking about it, chances are there's a lot more thinking about it. So we welcome any suggestions you have, either tonight at this meeting, or if you want to follow up with me afterwards, I'm happy to chat and hear what you think would be important for us to get out in the community. And also, if you're involved with other groups in the community and you'd like us to come and engage with them, we'd be happy to do that. One of the things I would encourage you to do, I encourage everybody that's thinking about this issue to do, is just take a week or two and really think through what you're purchasing. Look at the receipts that you're purchasing and try to quantify what that may mean for you and your household. If you're getting charged the 6% tax now, you'd know that you'll be charged 7% should this pass. And then you can get a sense, if you go to the grocery store, if you're going to pick up clothes or shoes or whatever the case may be, what items would qualify for the 7% and which ones would be exempt. That's a good way just to kind of think about it in your own personal context.
I flinched quickly and called a couple city council members, and I got a great explanation, not nearly as fine and detailed as yours. But today at the Seven Reverends meeting, maybe you know about the group, we were all enthused about what you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you.
And so I think you might not be able to be advocate, but commissioners can be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great point. Thanks again, Jeff. And I think, and just thanks to the city council, I think a lot of thought has gone into this in how to make it as fair and to try to lessen the impact on low income families, by how the revenue will be allocated. Can you talk a little bit more about the revenue sharing model of that? Is it, from what I understood, we aren't every dollar that comes from this tax, it's spent in Iowa City, won't necessarily stay here. It gets pooled. Can you kind of talk a little bit about how that works?
Yeah. So the dollars that are collected in Johnson County, you can imagine, just kind of get pooled together, and then there's a formula that's largely based on population that will distribute those dollars. So I like to just say this because I think it helps describe it. Businesses don't pay sales tax. People pay sales tax. So the state recognizes that with their revenue sharing, and they want to get the dollars back to the people. Okay, so let's give an example. Like a community like Coralville has a high volume of retail, right? They've got the mall, generates a large amount of of sales tax. If Coralville passes and Iowa City passes, those dollars go into the pot, and we get a little bit more than this 8 to 10 million because our population is far greater than Coralville's. Their population is about 25,000. We're closer to 75,000 to 80,000. And again, recognizing that people are the ones paying sales tax, not the businesses. Yeah. The distribution follows those people to where they live. All right, so it's not just where the business is. So a situation in which we would get 8 to 10 million again is if Iowa City passes and the other communities don't. If Coralville's in and Iowa City's in, this number will probably be closer to 15 million. And then you can have a community like North Liberty that's fast growing, but right now doesn't have a huge retail base. They wouldn't contribute much in terms of where the businesses or the sales are generated, but they would probably pull quite a bit because of their growing population, if that makes sense.
So it's at the county level. Correct. Okay, thanks.
But this really will help us a lot because we have a lot of visitors that come over here. It's like on football days when people come to visit us a lot. So
Yeah, and concessions are taxable. We've had that
Yes.
question quite a bit. So you're able to buy the, I don't know, $5, $6, $7 hot dog at the stadium, you're going to pay a sales tax on that. Yeah.
Maybe if this does not pass, we should just stick to the visitors and just charge apply only 1% to our visitors.
just invite more people.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate it.
Thank
I
you, Jeff.
appreciate the opportunity tonight. If you think of some questions after the meeting, feel free to reach out to me. Again, happy to talk on the phone or grab coffee and chat about Lost or anything that's on your mind. Thanks for your service and good luck with the rest of your agenda tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. Jeff can pass the podium over to Trey. Our next item is our Police Department Community Outreach Update.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, Trey.
Trey Hall, Community Outreach for the Iowa City Police Department, and I brought my buddy Josh here.
Josh
I always
is
talk
here.
about Josh. I always preach about the great work that he does, so I wanted to make
Josh
sure
in
he was
Flash.
be able to put face to name and explain a little bit about what we do and really what his role is for the PD because it's super important. So I'm just going to not talk a whole lot. I'm going to go over some stuff that we've had happen with the outreach department and just give a couple of updates, and then I'm going to hand it over to Josh so that way he can tell you what he does. So last week, I believe it was, Texas Roadhouse, we were invited to their, it's called Tibacop at Texas Roadhouse. All of the proceeds from this event go to Special Olympics of Iowa. It's basically to be able to send their athletes to a lot of different events through Special Olympics. So we, along with Coralville, raised $1,147.36. And again, all that goes to Special Olympics. And then we had Welcome Week, which we were invited to and attended on Sunday. Joshua went to that, and then we also were there with the fire department. We go to a lot of events together, so that's nothing new there. And then also we were invited to, so at the end of the summer for soccer, their soccer program. I'll let Josh talk about that in particular. And then just some upcoming things that we have. October 4th is the African Fest, which we'll be at, as well as we've been invited on October 23rd to do Trunk or Treat at Pizza Ranch. And then, of course, outreach for the PD is in charge of all homecoming events. So that's City High, the University of Iowa, who are also in charge of Run for the Schools. And then upcoming in October on the 15th, 16th, 17th, and 18th is the Coat Drive, sponsored by the Iowa City Police Department, as well as the CCRC, I believe is what it is, the Center for Religious Consulates. Is that correct, Priest?
Close enough.
They're our partners, and they do great work. If you follow press
It's probably
releases,
CRC, right?
CRC, yep. If you follow the press releases that the police department does, they'll have upcoming information on the times as well as how to sign up for the donation days, as well as if you want to volunteer, you can do that as well. They'll send that out here really soon. And I'm going to hand it over to Josh.
All right, hey. Good afternoon, commissioners. My name is Joshua. This is probably my third time coming and talking with you guys. So I remember the first time was when I first got hired. And I do see a few faces here that I do remember Mark and, Roger, my brother, that we see each other everywhere. That I believe.
All the time.
And welcome to the new commissioners as well. My name is Joshua Dabusu. I am the community outreach assistant. So I basically do the same thing as Trey does, but I have a little bit of specialty about what I do, which is working with immigrant and refugees. The goal is to build a better relationship between the police and the community. And the way we do that, it's by, bridging the gap when it comes to communications and understanding. I go out a lot. I do a lot of presentations. I attend events. They may invite me for just something. It doesn't have to be pretty or whatever. But Joshua, stop by. We're having this coffee. The girls are here. They wanted to talk to you about mentorship, stuff like that. That's what I do. I'm originally from the Democratic Republic of Congo, so I do speak French and Lingala. And this position, it was kind of like a great, position that put me out with the skills that I have with the language, also to, interact with others, the cultural understanding, which our officers are also benefiting from, because we spend a lot of time talking about, what had happened to a call, Joshua, why this person reacted this way. Is it a problem culturally, or is there something I need to be more aware of? And we do talk about those things, and maybe next time they're doing this maybe because of this and because of that. As the same way as when I first came, I probably didn't know what people were doing, whatever they were doing. So I had to ask questions and learn from it, and then that's how we build a community. So I'll let you guys ask any question if you have. But as Chief Trey has mentioned, we've been pretty busy since June.
Yeah.
So
When you guys show up, when you're there, Joshua, are you in uniform?
no, I'm like plain clothes like this.
Okay, thanks.
So I'm not a sworn in. I'm just a civilian as Trey.
Just a guy. Got it.
We're just guys that show up. And we
Yeah.
put on,
They show up everywhere.
sometimes we'll have a nice little shirt on that says it, but
Right.
we're just there for the community.
Right. Yeah. Most time we'll wear like a city police with the logo on it, and sometimes we'll have our tag. But the goal is to look as more approachable as possible with others, with the community. They may have fears based on whatever that had happened in their past. We're not here to to say we're gonna resolve everything, but at least with what we can, we're trying to show that to the community that we care about your experiences and we're just trying to do better. Going back to what I was saying, we did attend Welcome Fest, which was a very great event. We had Vienna's group was there, some other organizations were there. The mayor was there. He had to sing. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but
yeah.
that was great. That was great. Hear the mayor singing. But the police was there, fire as well. So we had time taking photos. If you have time to check our Facebook page, you'll be able to see those things. Just last Saturday, we had an event at the Kickers with the Sudanese Soccer Club. So it was the end of their soccer program, and we were invited there. I have a very interesting story about that group, because when we first started with them, was like my very first year. Our very first interaction was very. You can see the differences on when they first invited us to be there. I went there with one of our my sergeant at that time was Kevin Bailey. And I showed up myself because I try to make sure I build the rapport. They know who I am and the reason why I'm there and so forth. And then as soon as we started, finished talking, there was a squad car pulling in, and everybody started backing up. And it's like, oh, what's happening here? I'm like, no, he's a friend of mine. You guys went and invited police, right? Yeah. So then we had to learn how to interact with this guy, and then of course he did a great job. Our first time we did, kind of talk about traffic stops and what we do, my role. The second interaction, it was the same spot. We went in. It was the end of the summer program, or it was like a training sort of. As soon as they saw the car pulling, all the kids were around Kevin. It was like, Joshua, this is great. I'm like, yes, this is what it is. So I personally do take this seriously for our community, the way the city police are working towards how to show that we are there for each other, regardless of what people may say. But we're here, Outreach is here. Trace, you see him working downtown just to talk with businesses, build relationship. I do the same thing. I go to some of our local organization just to say hi. Sometimes it feels weird to just show up and say hi, but I'm like, well, I'm here. But, I can't take any question that you guys have about anything. It just doesn't have to be with police, but it can be about just anything about Joshua.
Well, first I want to commend the work that these guys do. I don't think there's enough Joshua to go around for the immigrant community that we have in Iowa City here, and especially the Congolese community that we have in Iowa City. It keep on growing, and Joshua is poor everywhere. So I hope one day we get to the point that we can actually maybe have more than one Joshua, because it gets poor a lot. So thank you for the work you do, the bridge that you are bridging, and it's tough work. I know you get pulled a lot. You get caught multiple places. You play a lot of role, not just your job, but you do it in multiple levels. So you guys doing a good job. And Kevin, I know he's retired, working somewhere with getting cookies brought to him now, but he's bragging about that. But you guys are picking up on that relationship, and you're building it up. So good job. And Joshua also can sing. He actually leads a group, a choir, a full band. So don't let him fool you. It's a great.
I try.
Yes. So.
Well, he's a guy of many talents, huh?
Yes, he is.
Yes, well, I just want to say thank you so much for everything that you've been doing. From my own personal experience and working with the youth, it made a huge difference having, you with groups and having the department, connecting with the community on a human level, like not through tragedies or catastrophes or God forbid, But it humanizes, the police department.
Yeah.
And it sheds away the taboo, and the villains within, the history of what happened before. Our youth has been really, as you said, when they start running to the car, like the first few times, they will be shying away and, is there something, somebody did something wrong, somebody called on us. But then now it's something different. Even my own, little one, whenever, something has said, Mom, do you want to call, so-and-so? Do you want to call so-and-so? And, he calls the officers by name too.
That's right.
So he does not see them as scary people that I cannot go to or something like this. Our community in great need for people like both of you. And I truly, appreciate all the time and the efforts and the dedication that you have for everyone. So thank you so much. And it was a great joy to see you during the Welcome Festival.
That's right.
And we have been, connecting through those events as well. So it's always nice seeing you guys. Thank you.
I just wanted to echo what my colleagues have already shared, which is thank you both, Trey and Joshua, for your work. You occupy a really unique space in our community, and you demonstrate to us when you come and speak with us the care and commitment that you bring to that. I was just curious if you, because you have such a unique access, if there's anything that you would hope that community members keep in mind, or what you're hearing that you hope any community leader would be keeping in mind about the groups that you're working with and seeking to bridge, as Roger said.
Yeah, that's a pretty good question. Something I always mention everywhere I go, because I know there is a lot of things going on, nationwide, federal levels and stuff. As far as the community and police, I don't want to say much about it. You guys know what's going on, but as part of my job is to ensure to these folks that we're just there to help, and then I want the community to know that as well. Some people, they prefer to talk to me one-on-one. I'm pretty good doing that. And I do assure them, like, well, if this is what you want us to keep us as one-on-one thing, we'll go ahead and do that. We, the city/police, they kind of gave me that opportunity to be there for you guys. And just know that we're trying to help with whatever circumstances you have, either it's reporting crime, being a victim of whatever, that we're just there to help whatever way that we can, just keeping those informations to our leaders to know, because most likely the community, if they feel some type of fear or, not willing to report or reach out, they may go to their leaders, which will be local organizations or pastors. As African, we tend to go to our pastors. So I have a pretty good relationship with my church, myself, and then our other Congolese churches. Some other churches, they sometimes, we do have time to ask questions, what's going on, what people are saying. Of course, it's hard to get all of them together in one room and discuss everything. That's something that I hope in the near future we'll be able to establish something like this, so we can be able to very frequently discuss of how we are keeping people updated about our role and what they want us also to help with, or how they can help us as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well done.
Thank you.
Moving on to item number 5 on the agenda, approval of meeting minutes of August 26, 2025.
So move.
Second.
Any discussion?
This is so technical, but I noticed in our attendance record, we've moved from X's to P's.
Well, you're being kind. There were a lot more errors on that. And I did catch it. And so when I sent the draft minutes to the city clerk, I sent a better and updated and revised version of the attendance sheet. But you're absolutely correct. I mean, it had folks on it that term ended last. Yeah, I caught. Yeah.
Okay,
So I
thank you.
apologize, but that did get corrected. So.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Anything else? All right, all those in favor of approving minutes from August? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, minutes approved. Item 6, public comment of items not on the agenda. Commentators shall address the commission for no more than 5 minutes. Anyone wishing to make any comments tonight? Nope. All right. Okay, great. Okay, then item 7, correspondence. I noticed a couple things in here in our packet tonight. Just want to call out the training workshop, the Iowa Public Information Board. If you haven't completed that yet, remember that that is required of us by the city council. Mark has a certificate with him. Bonus points.
I printed this one for myself. Leslie's going to frame it.
It's the open now.
Put that on the wall.
I didn't mind.
I got mine
Okay,
too.
so if you haven't signed up for that yet, please do so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
120 minutes. Enjoy.
The other piece is the very last page in our packet. Veterans for Peace will again be holding the only Armistice Day observance in the state of Iowa on Tuesday, November 11th. This will be outdoors in the Ped Mall at 11 a.m., followed by socializing, free meal, and peacemaking discussions at the public library. Featured speakers James Zogby, who will speak both at the outdoor observance and the library. James is the co-founder of the Arab American Institute in Washington, D.C., and you can see the other details there in the packet. Right. I think that the rest is all in our kind of upcoming opportunities. Stephanie, was there any other correspondence?
I think you got it all.
All right, great. Then we'll move on to item 8. Consideration of approving a welcome letter to the Daily Iowan for students. And this is a handout, I believe it's separate from the packet that you all have. So I'll give you a couple minutes to read through that. I think Stephanie's going to pull it up on the screen here for us too.
And while you're reading it, I'm an editor. I don't need to approve it today. I like the spirit of it. I'd like to take my edit pen to it.
Okay.
But we need to approve it soon. Emily, is that right?
Yeah,
Yeah, we
I
wanna
think
get-
so. I mean, I took a look at it and did some English stuff right as we were reading through it. So I have my suggestions at least. But
Is now an appropriate time for me to voice a concern about the letter?
Sure.
Yes.
First,
Okay, so the university just removed gender identity from their discrimination laws, and I am very worried that this might be inappropriately timed, only because I'm worried that there will be backlash of saying, okay, but the city stood up for it, but didn't say anything about the university's removal of these type of this wording within their discrimination section. And so that would be my concern, is that publishing this, I think it is beautiful and, you know, has a lot of heart and soul to it, but I'm worried that it conflicts with the message that of what is happening actually in the university right now to students who are there.
I've seen this as well. I saw this today, and it was one of the things that I wanted to bring up in my announcements. And specifically, to provide some clarification, I'm talking about, and I believe you're talking about, and you can correct me if wrong, that there was in their non-discrimination policy on September 9th, there was a removal of gender identity following a line of university and the state of Iowa decisions. I hear your point, and to be maybe the devil's advocate in this conversation, I believe it's important to put this letter out because the University of Iowa is distinct from the city. As far as my knowledge is, the gender identity is still within the city's non-discrimination platform.
Yes.
And it's important that, to me at least, despite the university's attacks or just plain removals of gender identity and all that, and all the discrimination, I think it's important that the city differentiates itself from the university.
appreciate that a lot.
That's the exact spirit and purpose of
this letter.
is to make that distinction. Yes.
It's a little bit like the state of Chicago and the city of Illinois.
Yeah, and that's what I think it points out to when it says, in the past years, the University of Iowa has severely reduced or removed services and protections. I like that differentiation, and I hope that that comes across. And if the wording in it doesn't come across as that, we do need to talk about that.
Right.
Yeah, because the university is following the guidance of the state of Iowa.
In this one, it wasn't required from the state. This was a university choice.
And that's
from-
the point, is that the university is complying in advance,
in advance
and they are
with the state of
they're
Iowa.
doing what
Yes.
they like.
Yes.
Because of the
They're going
Attorney
a step
General.
beyond what they're actually required to do. Yes.
in light of the Attorney General with the released videos, I believe.
Yeah. In fact, the Iowa City School District came out and put gender identity back in
Yeah.
Yeah.
because they realized, oh, we aren't required to remove it by the state. So
I'm supposing,
yeah.
Emily, this was a Board of Regents decision?
No, from the knowledge that I have, and I haven't been able to confirm it online because it's been a very silent point. And I would like to do more research and dig into it. I just only saw it today. It's a university-led decision that's not going in enforcement with anything that the Board of Regents or the state of Iowa has put out,
Interesting.
but seems to be a preliminary measure because we are facing investigation from the Attorney General, I believe, about whether we are continuing DEI.
We being the
Secretly.
university.
Yes.
Universities
Yes, university.
feeling that they are, okay.
That's what I believe. I don't know how 100% accurate that is, but that's what I've ascertained.
I understand. But we are.
My analogy of the situation is that both the city and the university have their hands tied by the state, right?
Yeah.
The city is saying, how can we loosen this knot? How can we, fight back and try to make things better? The university is taking that, looking at the state and going, look how we made the knot tighter for you. That's the difference.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we, the city, trying to say, how can we shake the knot a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good point.
Talia, I think I heard you say, so I think I heard you also mention that maybe the perception of how this might create a false sense of safety amongst those whose identities are being directly attacked right now. I think that point's really valid in context of this too. So I think we can do both things. I think we can assert that gender is a protected identity and that we do have a welcoming community and we will fight for that in our advocacy, but also in our ways of walking through this world.
Right.
And I think at the same time, we can also acknowledge that people are experiencing real risks to their safety and well-being and a threat to their very identity. Yeah.
I
So
think,
go ahead.
I was going to say, I think my biggest concern is that so I worked in marketing for over 15 years. And when reading this also like as a queer trans person who went to the university and all of that, I would be a little frustrated personally, not because the letter is rude or trying to placate or anything like that, but just because of the perception as a student that the university and the city are the same. And even though they aren't, once you live here and you've been here, I think it's more just being able to predict that there may be slight frustrations when we release this, and that there may be comments or that kind of stuff about our position. I think that it's wonderful that we re-mention that the council passed the resolution with the TAC and all of that stuff. And so I think that's wonderful. It may not hurt to mention the Trans Advisory Committee in this directly and the work that they're doing. But I think just having some like more tactile pieces of saying, hey, these are the way the city is supporting may be beneficial.
Well, and we even could open up in a meeting if students want to come forward and talk about ways that they could see the city better supporting them. The best way we can do that is 100% to listen to the ones who are impacted.
Yeah.
Would this, if we were to delay on this and add in and change and amend, would there be a delay? Would we have to wait to approve this till the next meeting? Because,
You over to the next meeting, or you have to call it a special meeting?
Or a special
special meeting.
So I would say, like, for me personally, I don't think this is strong enough. Like, my feelings about this are not, oh, we have to stop this or delay it. I understand the pressure to get this approved and out the door. I just want us to be prepared if there are comments about it, that we are prepared to respond to them, if that makes sense. I think that overall the letter is very lovely, and it's touting how Iowa City is really trying to do a good job with gender identity and LGBTQ issues, and just gender and diversity in general. I just, something to have on our radar 100%. On a whole. Mm-hmm.
I just want to work on it a little bit more. It's going to be in the paper. These are going to be students. First sentence starts with a pronoun with no antecedent. I mean, no, I'm just talking about how you want to write so it works.
Sure.
You're talking about more of the flow, and
I'm just talking about flow. I'm not changing content
you're
at
not
all.
talking about content. But
So like the third paragraph, it says you will find here a city, and it's like Iowa City. Just say Iowa City remains.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's those kinds of things that Doug's seen me tighten things up. He's written.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't change content. I just tighten it up.
And I could definitely see changes to this.
But you focus more on content.
Yeah.
Your content.
I was content.
And I love your content because it's
I
stuff
didn't
I
write
don't.
this, but
I don't know who wrote it.
I didn't.
I wrote it.
Yes.
Well, I've worked on your stuff
You
before.
have.
And I also want to thank Doug. He did pass it around to a couple of us for thoughts ahead of the meeting. So
With limitations, yeah. So
Yeah.
Kelsey and Liz, because Liz works with the university. But
yeah.
I know, unfortunately, I can't send it out to everyone before the meeting to have that kind of back and forth. So yeah.
we also have a meeting, or not a meeting, excuse me, but we also have another letter to come out that's also pertinent. So we could hold a very short special meeting to approve these pieces of statements and letters. That's just a possibility to throw out.
Yep.
Do we have Lubna's letter?
You don't. the other statement that is next on our agenda?
The best I can do, I don't have a hard copy because it came after I was down here and the meeting had started, but I can put it, let's see, thought I had it. And this is going to get, so I'm going to have to know when everybody's read so far, and then I'll move it up a little bit, but we can make this work.
So-
There's a way to make it bigger. Somebody just needs to let me know because I can't say I'm that familiar with.
Control plus, maybe?
While you're doing that, Stephanie, maybe let me place this. I know we haven't officially moved to the next agenda item,
Right.
but maybe to keep them both in balance. So this came up at our last Human Rights Commission meeting related to current events that had recently happened. As those specifically that an individual allegedly deliberately drove his car through a tent encampment outside of Shelter House. And in the months since our last meeting, there have been several more developments, several more conversations amongst our community leaders, including City Council and the Board of Supervisors. So I apologize that the statement was not shared with you all sooner so that you could review it and really think through it thoughtfully. But I appreciate the chance to still bring it forward and also support if we want to have a separate meeting to review both the letter and the statement and approve them after some feedback. But with that in mind, I want to give you a chance to look through, and thank you, Stephanie, for scrolling us through as we go. But there are some key points in that the statement addresses, including the situation, our stance, housing as a human right, and drawing on the connections between housing and human rights, as we are a Human Rights Commission, how this is a structural challenge that requires structural solutions, and that no one entity can possibly hold the full responsibility for doing so.
You read faster than I do.
Where do you want me to go back to?
We're good. I'm scanning.
I was trying to make it a little bigger because I thought it was small even with my glasses on.
Okay.
Up.
Yep.
Scroll up. You guys are fast readers. Oop. I think that's it.
Thank you. Kelsey, did you write this? Did you talk to Chrissy?
I did not, and that actually is something that I hope we could talk about, is if we want to talk with those that we are referring to in the statement, which is a practice we have wanted to do in the past as well.
I just think she'd be very supportive and grateful. It's solid, goodness sakes.
Mark, do you want to place everybody, you mentioned Chrissy by first name.
I'm sorry, Chrissy Canganelli is director of the Shelter House here in Iowa City.
Oh, either Crisio or Christina Hayes. She's the communications director. So one of them,
Christina Hayes was who I
yeah.
think that I was referred to talk to by a Shelter House employee.
I would like for there to be.
Yes, please.
Howdy, y'all. My name is Oliver Weiline. I'm the city councilor for District C. I've been meaning to come. I've been trying to get to all of the commissions, but it's very elusive. I usually work on Tuesdays, so I was able to get off early. I was just really happy to hear today, just found out today that this was, and I hadn't read the statement until right now. It is very good, so really, really good job, I think. And I just wanted to say thank y'all for taking what happened to heart and realizing that as a community we need to respond in a way that has the correct amount of urgency. I think a lot of times homelessness is something that people like to keep hidden, tucked away. We just don't want to look at it, but bringing it front and center so people realize that there are folks that sleep outside and that's messed up, and it doesn't have to be like that. And I just also wanted to say that this couldn't come at a better time because I think I meant Jeff Fruin, city manager, mentioned earlier when he was talking about Lost that on October 7th we're going to have a joint entities meeting with the county, and so the city council and the county. So I think the timing of this letter, if it would go out, so it would be public by that time, I think it would do a lot of really good work, because the importance of that meeting, I think, what I would like to see come out of that meeting, personally, acting from my personal point of view, would just heavily accelerated commitment towards locally investing in permanent supported housing, because we know that we can't rely on the feds or the state. The state operates with cruelty and the feds operate with cruelty and insanity. So we're not going to see anything from them that we're going to be able to latch onto. So it is my personal view that coming at this with a full head of steam, with the urgency that it requires in this moment, would be exactly what we need. So again, I just wanted to commend y'all and come to one of these meetings for one, but this just happened to be, someone told me that this was on the agenda, and I don't know, it kind of made my day. So thank you so much. And also, if you have any questions for me at any point, just ask. And yeah, I would love to meet every one of you too and just chat. So thank you so much. And thank you, Stephanie.
Thanks.
Great. Thanks, Oliver.
Thank you.
It's really timely that we've got this book. This is the saddest book I've ever read, but it talks about the impossible tangle. So that's October 16th. Is that what Oliver was referring to?
Yeah.
7th.
7th.
Yeah, that's the joint entities between city council and the board of supervisors.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
And city councils for North Liberty.
October
IRC.
16th, discussion of this.
Yeah.
Got it?
I think that's very good.
Thank you.
Go. We have the two pieces, right? So do we have any? Are there any edits to this piece? It sounds like we definitely have edits to the letter. What about this statement?
I think that people probably need an opportunity to read it, to see if they have edits that they'd like to include, and I
Sure.
would like others to have that chance.
Schedule a special meeting just to approve these. Yeah.
And we were talking about, speaking to Shelter House, and they might have some additional edits
Would not be a bad
or
idea
requests, yeah.
to reach out to Shelter House.
I'm happy to do that if needed.
Oh, that would be fantastic.
Great.
So I was going to make a suggestion that to keep us on this kind of timely schedule, if we could imagine maybe 1 week of both the letter and the statement being open for additional feedback and comments and edits, but that maybe that feedback would be closed by Monday is a proposed idea for myself. Emily, I am curious in your timeline for the outreach where you would want to contact them. But if we had, for example, feedback closed by Monday, September 29th to both pieces, we could, in theory, quickly convene as a group by the Wednesday or Thursday of that week, if there was shared availability amongst us.
How much notice needs to be made for the meeting?
24.
24 hours.
20, okay.
I could send out an email tonight and ask if they have time to meet during the week, preferably over lunch hour, but we'll make it work.
And I think for purposes of just open meetings, it would either need to be a subcommittee
Yeah.
that looks and makes the changes, and/or
Right.
if all 9 of you want to make changes, you should just individually send them to me,
Yeah.
and then I'll mark up the letter with all of those changes.
Yeah.
And I can put like who, like this is from Roger, this is from Kelsey, but just so there's not like a document that's out there like a Google Doc that everybody's, editing or has access to. I think that may be problematic. so.
That's probably a
point.
better idea. Either you send it to Stephanie or you have a subcommittee of the people that work on the letter.
How many people see themselves reviewing it as a true reviewer?
Not me.
Emily?
Emily. Mark.
What did you say, Roger?
Not Roger, he said.
Oh. I don't need to be a reviewer. I'm more interested in his letter.
Well, that's what we're talking about, right? For either
Well,
For either.
I see. Okay.
or.
Yeah, I just specifically on this statement for now, I think if there was a smaller group that just wanted to be almost like a subcommittee to really engage in it, that could simplify the process a bit. But I would welcome that everybody take a look at it. And if you have feedback, please share that with Stephanie and we'll make sure that you have access to it as well. Does that work okay for this statement? Okay.
Yeah.
So can this letter be sent out, Stephanie?
Yeah, I can send it out. Sure. Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
So
I
just
can
for-
send out both of them actually, but I might wait because Doug's is a PDF, and so I can save it back to a Word, which may make it easier for people to make revisions. And I'll just send them both out at the same time.
So, for clarity, are we talking about individual edits on the open letter to students and a subcommittee on the rejecting violence? Or was that the suggestion or the inference I just made?
Stephanie, correct me if I get this wrong, please. So on the housing statement,
Okay.
I think because you have expressed that you will go in more deeply,
Sure.
but everybody else is going to review, and we can just keep it in Google Doc for now, actually, and you can make your edits directly to that. For everybody else, you please take a look at it and send feedback to Stephanie. I'd love to see it too. I really am interested in your thoughts and ideas. And then Emily, as you have more information too, and having spoken with Shelter House, maybe you and I can touch base on that too, and we can make sure those any edits are included to represent their thinking too.
Perfect.
Okay. I would invite that specifically for the statement, all of those changes would be done by Monday ideally. Does that work okay for you? And for everybody else to take a look at that. And then by Tuesday, it can be kind of like done and in the packet. And then we could meet by Thursday, for example, if there was time and if we could find time, or Wednesday if that's better. On the letter,
I was going to suggest that Doug and I would just be a subcommittee to the letter.
We can do that.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, Talia, do you also want to be on that subcommittee? You had a lot of great thoughts and worries. Sorry for calling you out.
No, you're okay.
And you just to be clear, you don't have to be on the subcommittee. You can just send your edits to Stephanie, to your feedback to Stephanie too. It's up to you.
I think it's easiest if I just send feedback, and then, because like I said, it's not about like the grammatical or the style of writing or anything like that. I think the letter's really sweet. I think it's just the timeline of events. Had the whole situation with the university not happened, I would have been like, oh, heck yeah, this is beautiful. And it's really sweet. It's very welcoming. It's very warm. Like I said, it's just the concern about the timeline of everything.
Absolutely,
So,
yeah. And I think when we look at it, I've made a note to add something in a little bit more forceful of, we acknowledge your the fear, the anxiety that you have. Yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
Thanks, Emily, for observing that. And
Sorry, you had some really great suggestions that I wanted to make sure.
Oh, I appreciate it. Oh, you're good.
Well,
You said Trans Advisory Committee, and I was like, oh, that's a great idea.
well, thank you all for your great feedback.
All right. Okay. So Mark and I will meet this week. Feedback closed by Monday. New versions go out to everyone Monday afternoon or Tuesday morning. And then we will meet Wednesday.
I know, I think Thursday and Friday aren't those breaks within the school district?
Oh, yes, they are.
Yeah, I found that out at another meeting. So, I mean, it works for my schedule, but I know that might interfere with other people's schedule. So,
Okay.
actually, though, if we're looking at Wednesday,
That's some Dances with the Stars right now.
I would need to, I mean, I would say like no later than Monday at noon. Tight schedule,
Monday the 29th.
just to allow enough time to get those made and to have the packet ready to get published on Tuesday.
Okay. So maybe, can I throw out an idea?
Please.
We meet virtually for about 15 minutes at 5 p.m. on Wednesday, October 1st.
I cannot do that.
You can't do that. What could you do?
I could do Thursday, if we can do Thursday.
I'm flexible because I don't have kids in the school system. I just wanted to respond to that.
Yes, otherwise
that
I
on
would
board.
need it to be at like 6:30.
That would work for me on
On
Wednesday.
Wednesday on
On Wednesday.
6:30.
That would work for me.
I need to double check, but I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Okay, let's work on that,
Stephanie,
October 1st.
does that time work okay
Yeah.
for you?
yes,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Excellent. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate you.
Thank you. So Wednesday, October 1st, 6:30 p.m., 15-minute vote to approve the statement and the letter.
Perfect.
Great.
And just one other thing, I mean, public comment
Zoom.
isn't required for this, what
Right.
you're doing, but if you're just going in there strictly to, to talk about the letters and approve them, then if you're not planning on taking comments from the public, it's better for me to know that now so that I can place that on the agenda when it gets
Yeah.
posted so that people don't have that expectation that there will be public comment on the agenda items.
Thank you.
So,
Unless anyone has any strong feelings in favor of allowing public comment.
I mean, I could see the good in it, but I see the time restriction as well.
It gets problematic over Zoom.
Yeah.
I wondered, and this is a little bit of a point of clarification too, that I don't know if we'll get today, but for the joint entities meeting on the 7th, I assume there will be public comment then, right? So what we could do is, no?
I said I don't
Oh,
know.
okay.
I don't know how
Okay.
that works, though.
So assuming yes, I think we could even direct public comment into those venues too, as like a means of facilitating those that are interested in these issues.
doubt if there's comment in joint entity.
I don't know.
Okay, okay,
Okay.
Yeah.
okay.
And there are plenty of public outlets
Exactly.
as well and forums for it.
Exactly.
Yeah, so.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep,
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yep. Mhm. These meetings are open to everyone if they can come to our next one.
True.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
thank
Great.
you.
All right. Then if that's settled, okay. Item 10, formation of commission work groups, which we just did a little bit of. Thanks, Oliver.
Thank you.
Are there other work groups that we are considering or that hadn't had ideas? Stephanie, was there a
I know there,
action on this?
Commissioner Miller had a suggestion, and also Jeremy Ensley, who presented at the August meeting,
Okay.
had suggested that the commission consider having a transportation.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, beautiful.
Yes.
So as I mentioned about body diversity being one of my topics that I really enjoy ranting about, Minneapolis just passed this really beautiful anti-discrimination law that expanded to protect body size and criminal history in like employment and housing decisions. And that's something I would love for us to hopefully approach. It is essentially, the way I look at it is it's an extension of our discrimination policies of protected statuses that looks at body size specifically, whether that be height, weight, ability. And it's essentially, to me, an extension of disability body, like disability practices, like discrimination practices, because body diversity is, something that all of us deal with in some way, so, yeah.
Great.
And if you have questions, please ask and I can elaborate more.
I had a couple ideas that have been floating around. Obviously, we've been talking a lot about housing, as well as gender identity and sexual orientation. So those two. Immigration has also been huge. Community and government involvement, local government, state government, branching out this commission kind of to see and we've talked about this a little bit, but what our businesses, what our nonprofits, what our council members, what our students, what our citizens are looking from the commission, and what ideas they have, and how we can, our ideas can go further. And those are the kind of four that I've been pinging around in my head.
Well, to that last point, one thing we used to do on one of our older groups, basically the point of that work group was that sort of meet the commissioner type, public outreach. We'd have, what did we have? One time there was a cocoa with the commission or something at the public library for that. So yeah, those are things we've done before and I think are very valuable. So yeah, I think even just putting a couple folks together on that just to set up a series or something like that, it would be good.
Also, to add a little bit of context, because I realized after I stopped talking that there was a lot more things I could add that would make things make sense of why I'm approaching this. The University of Iowa was the birthplace of weight loss surgery, so there's a lot of very deeply ingrained fat phobia and weight bias within our community, whether it be through healthism or just straight up fat bias. And so that is why it is a personal thing that I think would be an awesome option for us to work towards, is getting some of the discrimination laws adjusted.
So just kind of some of the ideas that we've heard are working on the non-discrimination policy, potentially adding body diversity, criminal record, whatever that group would want to look at, transportation, immigration, community outreach. Emily, you had about
Housing. That was
16
it.
things that you threw out. Now you're
Well, I
going to get
guess-
them all down in time. Housing, yes.
And then I guess gender identity, sexual orientation, that could also fit into it. If we wanted to go broad, it could fit into a discrimination.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And it's already in there.
Yeah.
Is the only thing though, right? Is maybe with a little bit. Yeah. Okay. Others? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 6 possibilities.
I guess I would just want to extend an invitation. I know you've been hearing updates from me about a community dialogue conversation. This does not have to be a just me thing. It could definitely be a working group, and I would actually really love that and value that. And just to place that, what that is and why it's distinct from the community outreach working group and some of those things is instead of necessarily being a listening post where the Human Rights Commission is taking on board all the things that are shared from the community, this working group, if it is a working group, would help to inform a direction for the community of here are some resources, here are ways that you can be supported, working across different kind of resources and community leaders in our community that have just amazing knowledge on incredible kind of hubs. So it's cross-cutting a lot across many of these things. And I'd be happy to talk about it more. I know this is a really terrible overview of what it is, but if you're motivated by how we can continue to improve our community, this is broadly speaking, a group that you might be interested in as well.
What about citizens joining the working groups rather than simply members of the commission?
Could do like a rotating, I don't know.
I'm asking the question. I have 2 more meetings at the Human Rights Commission. My term's up. So I'm probably not going to be part of a working group unless you let me.
Could do like a rotating, like kind of like citizen, just to get like a fresh perspective, because all commissioners are 3 years.
Yeah.
So we're kind of like in long term, semi-long term.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Maybe adding to that, it could also be informal. So there's nothing that would drive us towards like formalizing that, 2 citizens are going to be with 3 commissioners on all of these working groups, but more so in an organic fashion. Like the point of this and the point of why we want to do this is to be in contact with our community and to hear about needs and to be active on these things. And so as we're doing that, if there are folks, including future former commission members potentially, who want to continue to be involved in that, I don't see any reason why that wouldn't be possible. And I think we could all kind of take that on board as we're doing it, just making sure that we're following open meeting law and requirements in terms of note-taking and things like that.
Could also be a way to recruit future commissioners.
Exactly.
It could be, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Volunteers.
So I think we can go through and
Training.
go through some of the ideas that have been thrown out there. And if you're interested in leading that group or being in that group, then speak up, and then we can put a group together and start your work and be ready to report out on your work at each future meeting. Okay, so looking at the city non-discrimination policy and potential expansion of that, I assume Commissioner Miller, you would want to be there. Right? Anyone want to join and work on that?
I would join, and a thought I just had too was we removed income due to state law, which has caused major problems in our housing and the segregation in Iowa City. Okay. So if that were also a topic, I would be very happy to join.
I think that fits well. Yeah.
If we can do 2 committees or commissions, I would want to do housing first.
Housing first. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. I think so. I think if Talia leads the non-discrimination with Emily, and then Emily takes the lead on housing, I think that
Why not?
I think that works. Yeah.
More than fine. I think it would just be making sure that our total numbers in each of these commissions fall within what, I think it needs to be 3 or fewer.
3 or fewer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So there's room for one more on the non-discrimination policy if anyone is interested. Not that we have to have 3, but just before we move on. All right. Any interest in transportation?
Let's bring in some non-members. Let's bring in some
And yeah, absolutely. And then it's up to your group if who you want to bring in or how you want to do that. I think. Yeah. Any interest in transportation as a working group?
What was the transportation piece?
I don't.
This was with our presentation from the last meeting about, equal. Oh, you weren't here. That's right. But we've had other presentations on this too about the kind of equity in transportation, in where the bus routes reach, the hours of operation, and how that disadvantages certain groups. And yeah.
I mean, that's pertinent too, because Iowa stopped night ride in full capacity.
Mm-hmm. Looking like no interest in transportation right now. I mean, it's not like we're saying it's not valuable, right? It's just saying like these are the things that we want to focus on right now. Not saying we can't at some point or do something else around it.
Yes.
Right.
Let's put
So
it on.
before, I know, like
Put it on
on
the side. Yeah.
speaking from a point of Catholic guilt, I know kind of like, but it's important too.
Maybe,
Yeah,
could
Kelsey.
I reframe this a little? Because I think
Sure,
if
yeah.
we talk about what transportation does, it's an essential resource so that we have access to the supplies and resources and our jobs and things like that in our community. And so I wonder if maybe there's something that could be reframed here of how we think about access to basic goods and services, a quality of life. If there's any kind of maybe that kind of could fall within discrimination as well. I think that incorporating this as a lens in maybe one of the other working groups would be a great way of thinking about it too, rather than a standalone working group at the moment.
Yeah. I could see it kind of being a part of housing too, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I like that. Thank you. Kind of weave it into some other things and kind of just, we all kind of
Keep it in
that
mind.
in mind.
Yep.
All right. Immigration was another possibility.
That's a big one.
It's a big one. I don't want to speak for her since she's not here, but I would assume that Dr. Liz, I know she does a lot of work in that area already, but yeah.
I'd like to hear what Dr. Liz has to say about that because I will gladly join her in that one.
Okay.
I think that would be great.
All right. We'll pencil you guys in, and then at our next meeting, when she's here, we
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Perfect. Community outreach and I think community dialogues. I think we can kind of put those together because I think if you're working on the community dialogues, I think it's easy to reserve the room at the public library and get some hot cocoa and say, "Here's where when we're gonna be there." Does that? I know the community dialogue. Does that work for you? Does that?
Pretty open.
I feel like, rather than having one that just kind of becomes the party planning committee, basically, right?
Yes.
Is that there's a little bit more meat on that as well with the dialogues, if you're open to that.
If there's interest, I'm open to however it would function best. Yeah. I think I am willing to lead a working group on community dialogues, but not community outreach.
Okay.
So
Fair enough.
if that informs the answer, not that it's not valuable. I just want to be clear about my priorities
Right,
that I'm able to give. Yeah.
And community outreach doesn't necessarily have to be a working group either. We can come together at a next meeting and say, "Hey, let's put let's put 3 of us out at an event," and
And that's something I'm happy to help with.
Okay.
I have a background in doing event planning and that kind of stuff, but it's not something I would say that I am quite ready to lead.
Right.
If that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Okay. Let's do, and maybe Stephanie, can we put that on the agenda for October? Is you planning a community listening post event?
Doug, what group are you going to be in?
Oh my goodness, I know, right? Yeah. So we have other. I know we mentioned sexual orientation, gender identity. There's a lot around that. There's a lot that's been done on that.
Yeah.
And that wasn't getting looped into the discrimination group? Just double checking and clarifying.
It could be.
It could be.
I think it's up to those who have signed up for that group if you would like it to be that or not.
I'm okay with that.
Okay.
I mean, and that's just, the thoughts that came up tonight. Again, we always are looking, when we dissolved the 3 standing working groups, we said that it would be on a more ad hoc basis and for things like this. So this isn't to say this is the be all end all. In October we can come with a couple other ideas, right? And I think having commissioners who maybe aren't on a group right now is good because then we are able to respond in a month or 2 if there's another need that comes up or we decide, hey, we should work on XYZ. Does that sound okay?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Sounds good.
Since this is, as we've heard, a really important time for housing, and we didn't address that idea, do we want that working group, or do we want to just?
Oh, did I
have
skip
a
that?
Working group of.
I had it on my list. I had Emily in there. Anyone else want to work with Emily on housing?
Join me.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm sorry. I
It's okay.
completely,
It's
All right. And Kelsey, okay.
And if that keeps anybody out of that space, please let me know, and I'm happy to step out so that other people can step in.
You and Kelsey.
All right.
Yep. Maybe Lubna will want to come too.
Yeah.
Maybe Lubna. Yeah.
She talked to me about it a little bit before.
Yeah.
And I think Kelsey, if you need help or want help on the community dialogues, that's something that I would be willing to
Great.
to jump in on as well.
Okay, great.
Because I know we've had conversations about that already too. So
Yes.
okay. All right. Excellent. Excited to hear what everyone starts working on there. All right. Agenda item 11, Human Rights Awards update.
Just that it's the 22nd. If commissioners could be there, ideally by like 6:50 in the morning, but if not, just before 7. It starts right at 7:30. It's at the View, and which is downtown Iowa City. I can't think. Is that? I think it's on Clinton Street. I think would be the address.
Across from
Okay.
Blacksmith.
And I know Emily and Doug, I didn't hear back, so I printed hard copies.
Oh, perfect.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I've been traveling.
When'd you get hard copies of?
All right. Great. We need to come up with a time there. So
What is it?
Another working group.
it actually is. Yeah. This is the award nominations for
stuff,
the Human Rights Awards for us
Yeah,
to.
that's the fun stuff.
Can you send me the agenda for that breakfast?
Yeah, so it's still,
Great nomination by my wife.
so I have you as doing the opening, Doug is doing the awards, Roger and Liz as handing out the awards as Doug reads them. So we still need a closer. But so basically it's intro, presentation of awards, and then closing. But the goal is to, 45 minutes would be perfect. If it runs just a little longer.
For the
maybe-
opening?
No. No, don't scare me like that. No,
By the way, I did,
start to finish.
I did the closing last year. And I'm doing the opening. Who else?
So if somebody wants to do that, just shoot me a note. And commissioners automatically get a +1 for the breakfast. So if you want to bring somebody, I'll send out something and just let me know so I can just get them the proper number of folks that are coming. And if you need an accommodation from that, just reach out to me also. So, but you'll get emails with more details
When do you guys-
once we know who the winners are and
Okay.
things like that. So.
Okay.
Roger, do you want to help Emily and I with the award selection?
I can help with
Okay. Roger wasn't here last time, so he wants to pitch in. So
I have an extra, I don't have an extra of the email that they have, but I have an extra packet of the.
Sure.
Okay.
boom, look at that.
You don't get a cool folder though, 'cause
I don't get a cool for. No, I think I have few of those folders.
Yeah. Okay. And then before you leave, like the
Yeah,
three of
we'll-
us will figure out a time to meet on that.
I had a little note on my paper.
Awesome. Great.
And you guys don't have it easy. I thought, when I looked at the list, gosh.
Yeah.
Everybody on the list could, arguably it's, so
Yeah,
it's
it's gonna
not
be
going to be easy. There's always great nominations, but this year particularly, it's not going to be easy.
It's always amazing. This is the good stuff.
I know. Like I'm seeing, like there are
I think
former
last year
commissioners
was
and
you
everything
and
like
I.
that. Yeah. Yeah, it was the
It
two of
was-
us last year.
It was some good
Crash
stuff.
party this
Great
time.
ones last. Yeah.
Please welcome to the party.
Can I ask a question, just out of curiosity? For the awards that are named and established, what's the process of creating a new one? Or is that done by city council? Is that done by the
No,
Human Rights
it's
Commission?
done by the commission. What the commission has chosen to do in the past is some of the ones that you see the names were added after the fact. Like the community award was just the community award. The individual in a service organization was just that.
Yep.
And as they wanted to recognize people, then they kind of modified the names with the original intent. But no, that would just be a commission decision.
Okay, because I might invite those that are reviewing these incredible nominations, that if you see a category that's not currently covered, our world is evolving and human rights can be very diverse. And so I think if there's something that warrants a new award, if you will, like I would personally encourage that and be open to that so that we can continue to like recognize that in our community.
I like that.
But leave it to you all to propose that if you find that that's necessary or useful.
And please, 45 minutes.
Yes.
Because you really do start losing people.
No,
You know, the
I'm
close-
thinking
Especially
like
for
it's
breakfast.
one more,
Okay,
two
okay,
more.
okay.
Nothing crazy.
Especially for breakfast.
Right.
Well, this time I think it'll be first time in a long time that I'm actually gonna miss the breakfast.
Oh no.
I will also miss it. Yeah.
Oh, wow. I had to, so Roger too? Okay. Make a note.
I think the
Only Charles, no
22nd. I think we'll be in Amsterdam.
Oh, wonderful.
Okay. Item 12, community dialogue conversations update.
Yes, there is no update, except I'm very excited to now have a small team working on this with me. So may I ask that before you leave the venue tonight, for those that signed up for the community dialogue group, that's Talia, Doug, and myself, can we just huddle about a time to meet? Okay, great.
Perfect. All right. Item 13, GrantNet update.
I think this is kind of Liz's lead.
It
but,
is.
But I will say that I haven't heard a lot that's going on with the grantees since we've met in August. And so I was going to propose to save the date for November 12th. And maybe gather them again, maybe just for an hour this time, because I think even then, after an hour, you lost a few people, so that everybody can kind of share the same information and not have to leave because of, a 1 hour lunch break, but try to find a location, have lunch again, and the grantees can just kind of give an update and ask for any help or assistance that they may need.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So.
I think that sounds really lovely.
Yeah.
I think, Talia, you might have just gotten this explanation from Mark, sorry, but so this is an opportunity that has just started with everyone who has, in the last 2 years, received a racial equity and social justice grant, that they're welcome to come and talk and share with others who have also been a grant recipient, and that we as commission members are able to listen to some of their needs too. Liz and Stephanie ran a really incredible agenda. Viana and I had the privilege of attending the last meeting. We didn't get to do some of that agenda, so I think even just like continuing the conversation and the agenda that was planned before on November 12th could even be really interesting. But I think that's great. Thank you, Stephanie, for keeping some momentum on that.
Oh, you're kind. Thank you.
Great. All right. Item 14, professional development opportunities for commission and community members. Do we have other opportunities or any updates to share?
We've been looking at some up in the office, and there's a few that I think are, what they're charging is reasonable. So I will get that out, say, in the next week maybe. And if one or two commissioners want to volunteer to take the courses, there's the self-guided ones. So you take them as your time allows, to kind of get a feel for what the material is and whether or not you think it would be beneficial for other commissioners to do that as well, and then maybe make it even larger and offer it to the community. But yeah, I did come across a few, so I'll get those sent out.
The open meetings law update, how many of you have done that? I did it.
Did it?
Yeah, it was 120 minutes. It didn't make, I guess it made sense, but it was prima facie. I didn't learn much new.
Oh, well, I guess that speaks to the excellent job the city does in training board and
think so.
commission members. Okay.
Yeah.
But it is informative. I felt that it was probably one of the best ones in my years with the city that I've participated in.
Good.
Great.
So I did,
I just wanted to add that, Stephanie, thank you. That's great. I look forward to receiving that. in context and related to the community dialogue conversations, one thing that's come through some of my exploratory and scoping discussions with other community leaders is around by many people the idea of doing maybe a training on some resources for interpersonal conflict and dialogue, and that seems to really have resonance. And so as we're continuing to do explore professional development opportunities for the community in addition to commission members, just know that that's on my agenda. There's some really great training opportunities that may be available, and I hope that now that there's a little working group that we can all work towards that too.
Wonderful.
Fantastic. Okay, agenda item 15, upcoming tabling opportunities. First one coming up Saturday, October 4th, the African Festival from, I assume that's noon to 9 p.m.
Yeah.
Is anyone available to table?
Tabling for that whole time.
What was that?
I hope it's not tabling for all time.
No, I just put I literally just put what it said on the website, so that was my bad, but that was not the intention, though.
I'm happy to sit at a table.
Yeah, and it's really just commissioner choice. These are just opportunities, so,
Last year it was,
Yeah,
the
so-
event was a lot of fun.
I realized that the weekends.
It'll be a lot of fun this year too.
I'm
No.
excited. I watched one of the African short film
Yeah,
at film scene.
Where is this?
just at the Ped Mall.
At the Ped Mall?
Yeah.
Okay.
Talked it up. They were talking it up quite a bit. So
Yeah, I can't table it, so because I'm serving at other cities, so. But it's a lot of fun. It's so much fun last year.
Anyone interested? Emily? Okay, all right.
And just to be fair, I think if there's not at least two commissioners, it's probably just good, because it's just a lot for one person.
I think you can do it for a couple hours.
Let's say we do a couple hours. I could probably do noon to 2.
sure. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Have to add that. Okay, great. What about the Corridor Community Action Network Connect? This is the next Saturday, the 11th, from 11 to 5. And there is in our packet some more information on this event. Let's see, right after the training workshop flyer, there's an email in here about that event. So tabling 11 to 5, this again, Ped Mall. There's also some space in the library. Anyone available or interested in tabling at the Community Action Network Connect?
I just wanted to say, because in our last month's meeting, we had also reviewed this, and I had said that I was interested, and I was going to check my schedule, and because I had travel. So I know now that I will be returning that morning from the UK, so I can't commit to that, but I will do my best to actually attend this and report back to the commission what I hear still. But I don't think I would be capable of tabling after a long haul flight. So just wanted to offer that, and my apologies for that.
I can say that this event is really lovely. It's a good showcase of community resources. And so I normally would be 100% happy to attend. I just already have a prior event planned for that day. But Mandy does a really good job getting this organized with lots of community folks. So
I'm out of town that weekend.
I'm out of that on that day.
Okay. All right, so it looks like no to that one. And then the other opportunity is Indigenous Peoples Day, which is the next day, Sunday, October 12th, 2 to 5:30. And I believe there's a flyer in our packet on that as well.
I
Yeah.
think we did that last year.
And this is at the Terry Trueblood Recreation Center.
I'll be coming back evening of that.
I have mentioned that.
A lot of us are traveling on the 11th, probably also the 12th, but anyone available on the 12th, Viana?
I think so.
Okay.
I think I can commit myself to it.
All right. Anyone available to work with Viana on that?
It was cold last year.
So cold.
Very cold. Oh my God.
I need a hand warmer right now.
I think you can probably with this one, since it's the city has some involvement in it, you can probably get closer to the date. Because the table, Parks and Rec is also one of the folks who assist with that. So it would be easier to squeeze you into a city-supported event than it is a community-supported event, just because of things like tables and chairs. So if you want, I can make a note in the calendar.
Yeah.
And just because I remember last year Roger getting sick, I remember that.
I think I got sick. Yeah. So cool.
It's a great event, but it was chilly.
I think too, like, it's such a great event for kids as well and families. And so, since it is one with like a city will already be tabling, like, I don't know if we could have Human Rights Commission resources at a city table. And then if commission members are able to attend, you might be able to float, because it's such a great thing to be able to participate in. I think there's activities, there's target shooting. There's just some really great things that have been a part of it in the past, and I think it's good to participate if we can. So then you would be able to, and your lovely sons wouldn't have to sit.
They're always wandering around doing things, so they know their ways in and out. So.
Okay, great. That brings us to agenda item 16, staff updates. Stephanie, anything else?
No, I think just thinking for your next meeting, I know you had mentioned last year this time about having a December mixer with the new members that would be appointed, and it's possible that all three of you are back here, January 1st of 2026. So I'm not sure what everybody's doing, what their intentions are, but if you do have new members, I want to revisit that so that I kind of can plan what that may look like and help support the event. But I think that's all I have.
That would be lovely.
I saw that there was an announcement calling for applications to be on the commission.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, but there have been applications received, yes?
Well, so a person's application is good for a year. So I would say that they could have as many as 20, 30 that are still good from the last time. And then, do I know whether there's been some, since this has been announced, that I don't know, but I know there would still be some from the last vacancy that would still be.
Yeah, there was quite a lot of applicants for that. There was like 34 or something.
And if anybody has questions in terms of like they 2 terms or they're filling an unexpired, just reach out to me and I would get you in contact with either the city clerk or the city attorney, because they would be the best folks to talk about council policy and protocol as it relates to filling unfulfilled terms and reapplying or re-upping. So that's all I have.
All right, great. Then commission member updates. Opportunity for brief updates from commissioners. Reminder that commissioners shall not engage in discussion on updates. Volunteer to go first, or you want to start with Emily and we'll go down the row?
Well, part of my update was talked about during this meeting, so I don't feel the need to rehash it with the talk of what the university's done recently with removing gender from their non-discrimination policy. In addition to that, I'm incredible, and to highlight a positive kind of shift, I'm very excited about the conversations we had tonight, if that wasn't apparent by my constant interjections, and as well as an opportunity that I have more time now. Done studying for the LSAT, so yay. I'm looking.
What is, I can't.
Oh,
I don't know what that meant.
the law school admissions test. That's what I was studying for. And then I'm very excited to working on these little committees and working on the letters and statements.
Commissioner Lusala.
Well, I am glad to be at the meeting today. Sorry I missed last month. And just wanted to invite you all to the African Fest next week. So be there, be fun. So, yeah.
Okay, I have a few things to highlight. First one, I participated in the Welcome Festival, the Iowa City Welcome Festival. In the early morning, I was invited to, as a guest, to speak during the Sunday congregation. And the first intention was for me just, as from my appearance, a Muslim female, Palestinian, Arabic, Middle Eastern, American, to be among the immigrants and just to highlight a few things and to welcome everyone. But it took a detour, a lovely emotional detour. In the past 2 years, I have been, shattered by what's going on in Palestine. And every time we hosted a community event, I always think that we should have a table for the children or activities for the children, because we are blessed to still to have our children around ourselves. So beside the glitter tattoos that we do, one day I was just thinking and telling my kids, I need something for the kids to take always with them home after the event and just to smile for a little longer. And I came up with the idea with the pinwheels. How simple it is, just to assemble pinwheels in every event and pass it around. So I made a post on Facebook about it. And I think, the people from I See Compassion and the Nazarene Church, they loved it. They got emotional as well. So when I went to the Welcome Festival, they were so sweet. They prepared like a basket with already made assembled pinwheels. And when they invited me over, they asked the children to come after I spoke. And just, we passed it to them. And they did a prayer. So the pinwheel was just an emotional cry for what we've been, feeling and suffering and witnessing. So the thought of it is, what does it take for a child to spin, to blow on this pinwheel to bring him back the smile? Nothing. Does not take any efforts. And that's just, like a reminder for all of us that does not take that much for us to change somebody's, life or even this is just like at the beginning of our tragedies and sorrows that we have diverted and control it and know that we still have to sacrifice what's left from us for those ones who are still around us. So it's like a silent prayer for the ones we lost, but at the same time is a strength and a reminder to help us to heal the ones who are still around us who needs us. And the same thing, to be blessed for the children around us and always to show them that we love you no matter what, no matter what you feel or who you are. We don't discriminate. We don't have selective empathy or selective kindness when it comes to our children, that we all deserve to love them and to hug them and to be there for them. So it was an emotional morning for me when I went there. And I truly appreciate the I See Compassion, the Nazarene Church, for inviting me and welcoming me into their place. Besides that, we already tabled, during the Welcome Festivals, and it was a joyful event. And I always, feel privileged that the people, they come to me and they speak to me, and even they honor the little things that we've been doing in the community, that it goes a long way. So when people, they said, I'm broke and I cannot do anything, I said, look at me, I'm shattered, I'm falling apart, but still, this is the beginning of our tragedies. We're gonna transform our sorrows and our, the horror that we see into something positive. And, we're not going to let these atrocities take over our lives and those ones who survived. So that's a part, of the things that I want to highlight. Something else, as a board member for the Coralville Food Pantry and as a volunteer, as an advocate for, the necessity of human rights for food, even, for everyone. We have been participating with the food pantry since 2018, cooking and serving, free community meals for the community. And it was part of the Welcome Festival Welcome festivities in Coralville as well. So we have served on last Friday, almost around 700 people. It was a great deal. And I have noticed this past event, with all the worries and all the immigration issues that we've been facing and the new laws and things, people have showed up. And it was a very diverse event. So they weren't scared to come. They weren't scared, to shy away from such gatherings. And again, it's not about the meal itself. It's about just, building a community and being strong together. It's the unity that we see and we feel. So, and the Mariam Girls Club, they've been part of it too, serving food, cleaning up, doing glitter tattoos. So as one city council, she looked at me and said, "Oh my God, Vienna, everywhere we go, we see you." Yeah, so I said, yes, we are always there. The day after, the morning after the Coralville meal, we have participated in the hydrocephalus walk, the Iowa walk to end hydrocephalus at the St. Morrison Park. And it's about the children. Like it breaks my heart to see any child who goes through suffering, especially physical pain. And they have, the parents, they have to look and they feel helpless. But again, we pass those pinwheels and just I try to take even pictures or photos of our children. They don't even pay attention to me. And their parents will be saying, just look at the camera. No, they So now the pinwheel became like a project or like a stable things within the Mariam Girls Club. And I'm really privileged that the people, they understand what we go through and they try even to adopt this within their, places too. One last thing, Halloween is coming up soon. And, I did not get the chance to work on this a long time ago and, share it with Stephanie so she can share ahead of time with you guys. But regardless of who I am as a Muslim, as one who organizes events for our Muslim community, there is a great need for the wider city to adopt an alternative nights for Halloween. Why? Because, as you have seen, like in the past few years, I have been seeing, them coming up with the teal pumpkins for, children who has allergies and those things. But then I was thinking, what about all those children who are traumatized, who has, mental illnesses, who has, sexual abuse, or they went through, hardship, at younger age, and they get triggered from the noises, triggered from the masks, triggered, from the chaos that goes, because it's saturated, everywhere you go. You go to the store. I heard just the other day I was walking, at one store, and the mother, she was telling the child, oh, no, we cannot go that aisle. You'll be scared. And she detoured and she went the other way. So it's not about, a specific, that's regardless of the faith. We're not talking about, a specific group of people just because they don't celebrate because of their faith or they don't believe in it. But truly, children, they deserve to have a safe, alternative place where they can, be okay, be safe, to spend that time, especially during the trick-or-treat time. So from my own experience, for the past 7 years, I have been hosting, events around 5 to 8 o'clock, the same, October 31st. So all the children who wants to feel safe and away from all the chaos that goes around, they can come and they can play and do things. And the events throughout the years, the least we got is around like 75 children. And the max we got around 200 children. So, and it's a blessing to provide for our children and to care for them and utilize, the energy or the resources that we have. Like, I suggested, rec centers, they can just, have like part of the gym, close and save Halloween safe zone or something like this, or the people, they no costumes, no masks, no nothing, and they can just feel free to go there. Or the school district, I have reached out to them. For example, they can do a movie night during those hours, in some specific, and designate some specific gyms in their schools. Every child worth, worth the efforts and the energy to put toward them to make them feel safe and healthy and mentally, to mentally care for them. So, and imagine, if that child who does not, have this safe space and get traumatized again, and then the school has to deal with the child, and then we have to deal as parents with the children. That takes so much than providing, just only a safe, space for them during the Halloween time. So I'm not sure. I drafted a letter, and I was hoping that, we could put it in the agenda for tonight, but it was too late. So I'm not sure if, Stephanie, we can, maybe add it to the other letters that we want to, vote on or something. Yeah, I don't know if that's doable or not. But it's only just plain, letter, just explaining, the need for those children, to have that space. Stephanie, so what are your thoughts?
Well, the commission, it just takes, goodness, it's been a minute, but You could add it to the agenda. It's just one of those days. But let me look at the bylaws real quick before I speak. If I just don't want to misspeak here. But I guess I will say if a majority of you either want to add it to the October agenda, that would be the 28th, so that's probably a little too late. But if you wanted to add it to discuss, really, the matter further, you could add it to the meeting that you're planning on having next week, or if you want to look at another time to more fully discuss it.
Just let me add that I have been, advocating for all children, regardless of who they are, for the past, 7 years. And I have been reaching out to the city and to school districts and different, occasions, different, reasons. So I would be okay to send myself, but this is like a great deal. Like this is like should be a citywide adopted, solution or like request to support those children who needs it. So it should be a citywide event, and I was hoping that as a commission we can come together and say, oh yes, we'll vote on it and we'll send it to city council. But if that's something that we cannot do in the short span of time, I'm more than happy to send it myself for this time. And we'll see how it goes with the city. And if nothing happened, maybe for the next year, we can work together to make it happen.
I don't want you to have silence. I just don't know how much I can engage with this.
Sorry, I
because
know.
we're not meant
I'm just
to-
waiting for Stephanie.
Yeah, I mean, I think
We can't, so,
yeah,
yep.
it's really just how you want to move forward on it.
Okay. Okay. I'll go ahead then. Well, maybe we'll discuss it later on, or I'll talk to Stephanie about it.
That would be good.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, all right. I will be brief. I just wanted to invite all of us to do a couple of things at this time, which is A, take care of yourselves. There's a lot happening and it will only increase too. And so, you know what? Find room for rest, find room for joy, find room for community and family and friends, and be selfish with that too, as much as you need that. And share that with others. Ask for help too, if you need it. And then the second thing is just, I was reflecting on as we move into the final quarter of 2025 soon, please remember that we have power in our communities to promote donations to causes that matter and that support human rights. And so, especially I continue to say, I think this is the year that programs close because of a cut to funds from many different sources. And next year is when entire organizations close. And so please keep that in mind as you are thinking, if you have the ability in your own financial priorities, but also in the precious resource of your time to volunteer with organizations too, and to encourage others to be a part of that as well. And then I will just say that I'm really looking forward to having the opportunity to finally launch the edited volume that I've referenced a couple of times on how identity-based mass violence occurs in communities around the world, including outside of acute events. So mass violence isn't just something that happens overnight. It's not even something that is related to mass casualties alone, but it is also the level of mass that comes from systemic, ongoing, consistent violence and death in communities, and that most of that actually happens outside of conflict spaces where I don't think our atrocities get enough attention around the world and our genocides, but I don't think our violence in cities gets enough attention as well, because there are solutions and we can do things about that to uncover especially what the most marginalized are experiencing. So I will share more with you all down the road as that is released, and I appreciate all of you and each thing you're doing. Thank you.
No real update from me tonight. Just I want to echo Commissioner Paul Shance's comments. Make sure you're taking care of yourselves. And as we come into the end of the year, doing what we can to take care of each other in the community. And again, thank you to everyone on this commission. I am inspired and upheld by each and every one of you, and I'm extremely privilege to serve with you on this commission. So thank you to each one of you.
I certainly share that sentiment. Leslie found my phone. I don't know how she found it, but she did find it on the floor in the front seat of my car. I'm only a little embarrassed by that. I'm active member of the Interfaith Alliance of Iowa. So we'll meet tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock via Zoom. Interfaith Alliance also meets first Fridays at noon at St. Paul United Methodist Church in Cedar Rapids. September 5th, it was Guthrie Graves Fitzsimmons, the executive director, and his topic was Project 2025. It was very helpful. I continue to meet, and Leslie went with me. We were glad. We'll continue to do that. I'm a big advocate for it. There will be protective accompaniment training at St. Paul's United Methodist on this Saturday, 9 to 11. That's involved, and we now know that October 7th, ICE has announced plans for mass detentions, which will mean families will be broken. So some of us will be at the ICE office in Cedar Rapids at 7 in the morning. I did listen to our president speak to the United Nations today. It's such a dangerous time. Thank you.
My major update is thank you for the warm welcome. It's lovely to be here, and I can't wait to continue working with you all.
Thank you, everyone. With that, I believe we are adjourned. Do we have a motion?
I move to adjourn.
I second.
All right. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. And we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.